just like Adrian's shoes were hard to fill. I say that with confidence. And it sucks. It's unfortunate. Oh, dude, man. Some of you might have heard of a little band, which honestly they are probably my favorite metalcore band. I say that with confidence. I think they are definitely top 5, but I think they are currently my favorite metalcore band, like that is doing modern stuff. And they're called Crystal Lake. And they've been so consistent, like they out of any of the metalcore bands in terms of blending like emotion and catchy choruses and just metalcore riffs. And the instrumentals are always crazy. The riffs are tight, the drumming's insane. But there's this very special important part of this band, and it's the vocals from Rio. And really, really sad news to wake up to, because not only we haven't had a new Crystal Lake song in like over a year, like no one really knew what was happening with them. They were just dealing with some stuff. They made some statements here and there, right? But Rio has left Crystal Lake. Fuck, man. Honestly, Rio, one of the best modern day vocalists like out there. Like there's a reason he's featured on basically like everyone's track, because everyone's buying him on Featured X, because he's just so fucking good at what he does. Like this is the thing, right? Like Rio, like sure, people know him from like probably Crystal Lake, like Apollo. That's the big one. That was their big breakout. Right, he has a very distinct tone to his voice, his lows. Right, I mean, Apollo has his lows, but like, if you want to hear some real screaming versatility from him, like such an insane vocalist. And then you look at something like this, Crystal Lake Acoustic, which I didn't discover this until recently, and motherfucker sings like an angel. You know, it's like he is an incredible fucking talent. Like there has been many times, actually, I've never said it really, over the past year, because I didn't know what was happening with Crystal Lake, which I was, and when bands are doing their stuff or figuring stuff up, usually the vocalist has more time. I didn't know what was happening. And I was even gonna I'm not gonna joke, and I'm not even joking. I was thinking about just hitting him up and being like, hey man, do you work fast? You want to just do a 2-man project? Add another one to the roster, because he's that good of a vocalist. Like I legitimately almost messaged him a few times to do that. I mean, it's good I didn't, because obviously they were going through stuff. But like, regardless, dude is such a incredibly talented dude, such a good vocalist. And they issued a statement today after for so long not releasing a song. Of what's been going on and what happened. And this is Rio talking. I sincerely apologize to all the fans and everyone involved for whom I have caused a great deal of trouble since the hiatus from September last year. As previously mentioned in the hiatus announcement last year, I have an illness known as adjustment disorder, and I have decided that it'll be extremely difficult for me to continue as a member of the band in the future. And I mean, I didn't know what that was until kind of reading it and then reading a little more into it. It's as far as I read into it, it's just it's not really like personality disorder or like bipolar, but like it's a very extreme thing where if you have a certain amount of stress, like your brain just f***s with you. Like it's just really not good and unhealthy, and it's very debilitating as far as I know about it. And I mean, it's tough, like to have something like that in a touring band. It's very tough. Like you're living in stress, like every day. You're living in the stress of is there a home I'll have to go home to? Like, can I pay rent? Like it's a tough life to have something like that or a tough career path for that. It was certainly not an easy decision, but I believe I made the best choice by taking the time to reflect on myself. I struggled for 10 years and continued to fight. I didn't have many allies, and I only relied on myself and the voices of the fans. Really? I mean, I wasn't like buddy with Rio by any means. I've talked to him a few times back and forth. I've met him in person. He seemed like just like a really nice dude. But again, I don't know. I'm not like one of his buddies. Maybe he's a tougher one to deal with sometimes. I have no clue. But I've been suffering from adjustment disorder for 5 years. Some days I can't sleep. Some days I can only sleep. Sometimes everything becomes pitch black and you can't move like a corpse. There were so many times when I couldn't stop crying before a live show. Fuck, man. Crystal Lake has been the #1 live band in the world for the past decade, without a doubt. Thank you all for the fans who supported me during 10 years I was around. Rio. Oh, dude, man. That hits, man. Like, fuck, man. And it's not like Crystal Lake is breaking up, you know, and we're going to talk about the future in a second because the band made a statement as well. It's sad, right? Like, he when you see such a talented human being who grinds, who's been in a band, who has elevated the scene into a better place with what he's done with his vocal talent, writing talent, all of that. And his live shows, it's like, let's not forget the live shows. Like I was fortunate enough to see Crystal Lake live once with Rio, and they were amazing. They're amazing, dude. Rio's energy is dumb. The whole band's energy is insane, right? But like, that dude is such a front man. Like, Rio is an absolute boss ass front man, you know, and his talents are fucking ridiculous. His talents are ridiculous. So which is again, it's hard to replace someone like that, regardless of how good the band is. Because again, don't get me wrong, Crystal Lake, everyone's amazing. The drummer is a machine. The guitar work is always incredible. I'm sure bass exists. It's not like Rio's the one carrying. Like, no, like, everyone is at that level, but everyone is also a pretty like essential part of this band. But anyways, Rio said he's out, and then Crystal Lake started this thing, which again I had to kind of like translate and try to understand what the it was said. They are holding vocal audition. They're continuing on without Rio, which is, I mean, that's good. It's really hard to replace Rio, but let's see what they're thinking of doing. About the Light, a public audition project to recruit a new vocalist as official member of Crystal Lake, regardless of gender, age, national experience, without being bound by existing conceptual limits of Crystal Lake. See, that's always tough to a point, because whoever they get still has to be able to play the old songs live. And that's where it's like, yo, Rio is doing a lot of crazy shit. Like, the lows, the highs, the mids, the singing, the screaming. Like, he was doing a lot. So that's good that they are looking for someone that can do like whatever, but they still have to have that minimum standard of being able to perform these songs live and have Rio's energy live, bro. Rio's energy live is insane. So here, I'm very curious. Vocalist conditions. All right, this is more so what I was looking to get into. Ability to treat band members, staff, family, and friends with respect and dignity. I fucking love that they said that first. Like, thank you, because that is the most important. They don't like, no, like, bands. It's not, you're not a fucking rock star just because you're a vocalist. Like, no, just don't be a piece of shit. That's basically what they're said. Don't be a fucking asshole. That's #1 condition. Be prepared to properly communicate with all relevant parties, right? You have to know Japanese. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if they're going to say that in a second. But ability to express yourself and sing without being bound by the existing conceptual guidelines of Crystal Lake and grow as an individual through music. Ability to write your own lyrics, vocal lines, patterns. Ability to sing Crystal Lake's existing catalog. So, do you guys see where this starts to get tough, as I was just mentioning? Because I'm so happy for them that they're looking for someone to do something new without being bound by conceptual limits of Crystal Lake. But they're also like, you have to be able to sing within the like Crystal Lake limits, right? Like, you have to, that's the tough part, right? Like, you have to be able to still do what Rio could do, but then build on it and do something else. Like, yeah, that's not easy. That's so hard. Just audio-wise. Meanwhile, live show-wise, fuck, man. Being able to commit to participating in Crystal Lake as a main member and being able to go on long-term domestic and international tours to perform live shows. Yeah, touring, of course. Being able to communicate in Japanese. Okay. I was wondering if they were going to ask that. That's important, right? Like, they're a Japanese band. They speak Japanese with each other. So, like, I'm sure there's a lot of, like, non-Japanese vocalists who can speak lit-ass Japanese and who are, you know, understand that all. You know, a lot of deathcore vocalists even, I know, learn Japanese just because they watch anime and stuff. There's two big limitations here. The don't be a is god tier. That should be it. But really, it's, can you do what Rio did and can you speak Japanese? Like, those are the toughest ones, I feel like, where they're going to have the most trouble. I don't think they're going to have trouble finding someone who's just not a piece of shit. Maybe that will be tougher than people think. And someone who can just write, like, good vocal lines and stuff. Because they write really good music, instrumental, right? But, like, knowing Japanese and being able to sing or do what Rio did, that's hard. That really does limit their possibilities, right? Ability to attend studio rehearsals, meetings, promotion, activities in Japanese. Okay, so this is okay. I think they're gonna find a Japanese vocalist. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Must be able to either live in Japanese or come to Japan frequently. Like, and again, like, I'm not saying it's impossible that they get, you know, an American well-known vocalist and that's the new vocalist, and they move to Japan. And they live there now and they can speak Japanese and they can do it real. I'm not saying that's impossible. That might be what happens, but I think they're going to end up finding a Japanese vocalist, like, just like, to be real here. They just described Rio, yeah. Which, yeah, that's, again, like, it's tough, like, they do in there. So entry period between then and then, it starts today. Hey, chat, there you go for it. All right, maybe someone in chat will be the new Crystal Lake vocalist. If so, you got to make sure you send me the bangers before they're out. This is very similar to Northlane, and hey, they got Marcus. That turned out great. Marcus is a incredible vocalist. Just like Adrian's shoes were hard to fill. And this is going to be the tough part is, well, Rio's gone. That's just the sad part, but is I feel like no matter which vocalist they get, and I have a few in mind, right? The number one guy, you guys ready? That I think right away could do this is this dude. Don't even know his name. I forgot. I think it is Rio. I think it's Ryu. Realistically, if the audition, I feel like these guys might just even audition too. If the auditions don't go well, or just in general, if these guys audition, I can easily see the next Crystal Lake vocalist is the guy from Dexcore, the guy from Prompts, or the guy from Nocturnal Bloodlust. We'll see. I feel like one of those vocalists are going to be the next Crystal Lake vocalist. And this is the thing, to my point way before we went off tangent here. I think they will do great in Crystal Lake, whoever they find. They're obviously serious about finding a new vocalist. No one can replace Rio, but it is what it is. Now, just like comparing to how Northlane went around, no one could replace Adrian, right? Like, you guys remember how crazy that was when Adrian left Northlane, and then people were like, "What the?" Like, Adrian was a great vocalist, arguably, and he couldn't do even as like one half of what Rio is doing in terms of capabilities of different types of vocals. Even though Marcus was a good vocalist, like, people just ragged on him because he wasn't Adrian. So that's something that no matter who they find, Crystal Lake finds, they're going to have to literally wait at least an album or two before people start accepting that Rio's gone and then there's a new vocalist. It sucks. Like, it sucks having to deal with that. No matter how good the new vocalist is, they're going to have to deal with that. They just are going to have to. And it sucks. It's unfortunate. Right? But yeah, that's the Crystal Lake news, man. It's really sad. It's cool they're holding auditions. We'll definitely keep to date with what they're doing with that. We'll see if they're actually posting videos of all that. But Crystal Lake, man, Rio, man, I wish that dude the best of luck. I would love to work with that dude one day if he ever hopefully he can figure stuff out and get the help he needs, man. He's such a good vocalist. But you know, he'll be missed, man. He's irreplaceable. He's irreplaceable, man.